Hey there, internets. This is Kyle coming to you with another edition of the My Business Launch Secrets YouTube channel. If I remember what I'm recording, documenting one man's journey from $0 to $1 million and starting a new online business, doing so from scratch, and doing it part-time because I still have a day job and bills to pay and a family to take care of. So on today's edition, we'll be talking about what the hell does Kyle want to do with this online business? Because Kyle thinks everything he's been planning for the past month or two is complete dog shit now and should do something different. So I talked about that a bit on the episode yesterday, day 72 or whatever that we're on. And just day 73 was yesterday, so today's day 74. So I talked about some of the rationale of what's led me to have some of these deep thoughts. And today was just kind of spending some more time doing some research about a few of the other ideas I've been kicking around, and if I were to go down one of those paths, like how exactly would I build a business around doing that sort of thing? And again, it comes back to the idea of finding something that I'm irrationally passionate about, and that there are many others in the market who are also irrationally passionate about that product or service I would be offering into the world. So I spent a bit of time today looking around at building business kind of around teaching, an education business around teaching skills related to like software products that I'm familiar with. And on one hand, I thought, well, I'm an engineer. I know a thing or two about some engineering specific software products, and maybe I could start putting out content related to that, and then offer courses on that, and then offer more one-on-one support for a higher tier sort of thing in the value ladder. But then as I was searching on the YouTubes, which of course is where 99% probably of everybody who's looking for a video tutorial about something is likely going to go. And you start looking at the people who are out there making that type of content, engineering focused YouTube content that's deep technical content, not just, there are some huge YouTube channels that kind of describe everyday things in your life and like the engineering behind them. And those are kind of like general interest, YouTube videos, just kind of explaining the world around you. And obviously a lot of people are interested in those types of videos because they can be very amusing and educational at the same time. But I'm talking about more specifically like, detailed, here's how you set up this function to do some regression analysis on some set of data. And that type of content, much less in terms of viewership and subscribership on the number of channels that do that type of content. MATLAB is the name of a tool specifically that a lot of engineers grow up kind of learning. It's used in a lot of universities as the basis for doing numerical analysis. Even though I would not by any means describe myself as an expert in using that MATLAB tool, I figure I'd probably start churning out enough videos and then learn more as I went and got dug deeper into it. But you just search for MATLAB tutorials on the YouTubes and really don't get much, just in terms of diversity of the channels of people putting out content. Of course, you got the company that makes that software that puts out a lot of tutorials. But again, what you find is even those videos, have thousands of views perhaps, but getting thousands of views on a video isn't gonna do much for you in terms of ad revenue, and again, that's a much more limited audience. Even if you think about wanting to drive people from your YouTube videos to something separate, like a course or a coaching type of thing, you're just fundamentally limited by the number of people that are interested in that type of content. And so I kind of decided I didn't really want to go down that route, just because I figured, again, it gets back to Russell's whole thing, like you need to find an area that people are like irrationally passionate about it, meaning there's tons of people looking for that content, and there's already people out there serving those people with that type of content, and those people are probably doing pretty well for themselves already in terms of the ones that are generating that content. So I started broadening the scope a little bit further and started looking into like technology software that, again, I'm very familiar with, but is more broadly applicable, such as Microsoft Excel or any spreadsheet type of program. They're all pretty much the same. And again, that's something I'm very familiar with as I use it. Definitely have used that day to day for decades now. It's really the core of much of the work I do, even though it's not an engineering program, but I do mostly program management, project management stuff these days. So I use it, and I use it for, doing various things in my own personal life, from keeping a budget to tracking my net worth to looking at my real estate portfolio and doing analysis on that, looking for new deals, all that sort of thing. So I thought, okay, well, that's easily a tool I could create a lot of content around. And so you search the YouTubes for that type of content. Obviously, definitely, as you would expect, you find a lot more people making that type of content, a lot more viewers, and a lot more subscribers to those channels. I mean, now you're talking like up in the millions. On some of the popular channels have multi-millions of subscribers, and then individual videos can have millions of views, because it's just a much more broadly applicable topic that a lot more people are searching for. And interestingly, there's some YouTube channels that have like been around for like 10 or 15 years, probably since the beginning of YouTube, making Excel-based tutorial type videos, who don't have the most subscribers and most views on their content. Yet you've got more recent newcomers. There's a channel called Miss Excel, MISS Excel, EXCEL, I guess. And she's a young lady that just started putting out content like 2 years ago or something, during the pandemic phase, when she had some more time on her hands. And of course, her content, though it's teaching Excel, is doing so in a way that appeals in the more TikTok type format. Quick little snazzy things, hip background music, dancing, blah blah blah, typical bullshit that I don't really care for. But she got a lot of success in doing that, and not only has very successful, various social media platforms, and I'm sure getting a lot of money just from that alone, but then she has like a ton of courses built up. I mean, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 different courses that you can purchase through her website, and not cheap anyway. Like a course can sell for $200 or $300 or something. And so you can imagine, if, again, she's got like millions of people watching her videos, then even if a small fraction of those go and purchase one or more of her courses, I mean, that's a lot of money. And in researching her, I mean, yeah, she's definitely seems to be making millions of dollars a year in that business after only 2 years. So it's like freaking crazy. I'm sure a lot of people kind of resent that in some ways. But let's pause real quick. Okay, quick. I'm back. I had to tend to a sick kid. So, yeah. So maybe some people resent her for being able to do that, but screw those people. I mean, she's out there kicking ass, taking names, and I mean, so what if the content itself is no different than things that have been already on the internet in various forms for many years? She found an angle to, in her case, present it differently, attracting a different type of viewership to that content than would probably care for a lot of the other types of tutorial videos on the YouTubes. And she's been very successful in doing that, so good for her. And again, just another example of how you don't have to necessarily have a bunch of brand new ideas in order to have a very successful business. You just need to take old ideas and refresh them in some way that makes them more appealing, and market it correctly in a way that will get people to gravitate towards you as opposed to anywhere else that they're looking for their information. So anyway, I mean, I was kind of thinking for a good part of the day about again, I really dig using Excel, making spreadsheets. Maybe that's something I should start making content on, and start thinking about what would the business name be. It's the usual thing of searching Google domains to see what domain names are available. But I don't know. I guess just started getting more concerned that maybe that I wasn't sure. I guess that I would have a specific angle or niche to push that specific type of content out in a way that would find me a lot of success, I guess. What's the point? I don't know. And so I started thinking about, what other types of tools or things, whatever, could I create tutorials on, and ultimately it just kind of came back towards the end of this evening here thinking about, because one thing that was tripping me up was, thinking about if you create a YouTube channel around like Excel tutorials and whatever the name is, then does that mean like you really need to only do Excel tutorials, or could you do other types of things? I think the answer is yes, because even Miss Excel lady YouTube channel, she actually does cover various other things, from talking about Google Sheets to even talking about Microsoft Word and various other entirely non-Excel based tools, and she talks about those. I don't know if she's selling courses around those yet or not, but obviously she feels she can expand out from the very thing that she named her entire business around. There's other folks that have pretty big YouTube channels that are definitely more generic. The channels are named after the individual themselves, and they talk about a variety of different things, which they might have a whole series of tutorial videos about Excel, but they'll also have a whole series about PowerPoint and about Microsoft Word and about some video editing software and some audio editing software and these types of things. And again, certain people have had some success in doing that over many years. I'm not sure I'm not sure if that's the best approach if you're just wanting to get started out and trying to find something that'll get you relatively quick success or not. In one channel, I think that maybe changed my perspective a little bit was came across one that's called like the Organic Chemistry Tutor. I think that's the name of the channel, like Organic Chemistry Tutoring or something, the Org Tutor. And so you see a channel saying Organic Chemistry Tutor, you think, okay, this is about organic chemistry. And if you're struggling with organic chemistry, probably you want to watch that guy or gal's videos to learn about organic chemistry. That's a very specific topic. But lo and behold, the channel is literally filled with like all kinds of tutorials about everything from, yes, deep technical details about organic chemistry all the way to like middle school math problems and working out the quadratic equation, talking about algebra 1, algebra 2, various basic science topics, and just a whole, to include Excel tutorials as well. And so it's just this whole smattering of just like a bunch of tutorials about a bunch of different, like educational topics, things you would learn in school. So it's focused around, tutoring type of videos for kids, younger folks that are obviously probably in those classes and looking for more information on whatever those topics are. But just a whole smattering of things. And that's what I guess sort of got me thinking back to an old YouTube channel that I actually still have, which I created when I was teaching a course on circuits at the university I was working at the time. And I was teaching the course like live in person, back when that was still a thing, right? Teaching a course to, I think, freshmen and sophomores at the college level again. And I started just making these videos. The university had a little recording studio I could just use as needed. And so I'd go in there and record videos on a weekly basis. Most of them just like working out a problem that related to whatever the topic was that I was teaching about that week, right? And I did that just because, as a teacher, you have a limited amount of time that you're in the classroom, and circuits and a lot of college courses obviously are very, can get very in the weeds, and it's hard to cover everything you want to. It's hard to kind of cover the course material, just like teach the concept and still have time to work out problems and actually help them see everything in action. So, so I would spend the time in class, teaching more so the concepts, maybe working through a couple of basic examples, but then I would go record a video that would work out additional problems in more detail to, provide some further perspective on whatever the topic was, right? And I think my students probably appreciated it. I don't know if I really told me, I guess, if they really liked it or not, but for whatever reason, the world sort of paid attention because I started getting, what I, at the time, of course, thought was a large number of views on my channel. I mean, beyond, how many students I had in the class, obviously. So clearly was getting interest from people that were just searching on whatever that topic was I was talking about in the video. And yeah, that channel has lived on. And this was like 7 years ago now that I was doing this. And it's lived on. And it's still a living, breathing thing because I still get comments on there, on my videos, somewhat regularly, of people just saying like, oh my God, like, thank you for explaining this. This was so much easier to understand than my professor or whatever. Because, the concepts are, still what are taught, in universities about circuits today. So that material is not going to change. And so I'm glad that it's helpful for the people that find it. then I get, of course, random comments about, oh, I think sorry, sir, you're actually wrong on this one section of this video, which, of course, I'm not going to take the time to go back and see if there was actually an error or not, because I just haven't really cared. Anyway, I do get some ad revenue from those videos, which amounts to like literally $100 a year. But the channel does have like about 10,000 subscribers and overall. So I guess where I'm at today, because I'm not going to spend much more time on this video, but where I'm at today, at least right now in my head, and I'll go back to sleep on this and see what my subconscious tells me in the morning, is that maybe I just need to build on this thing that I already have, which, having 10,000 subscribers, even though it's not like a list that I have for a business, because I don't know these people's emails. I don't, YouTube doesn't give you that information, but they're at least subscribers, so they're at least partly paying attention. Or at least if I were to put out new content, which again I haven't in like 7 years, if I were to put out new content, they would get some alert. 10,000 people would get some kind of an alert saying that, hey, this channel they're following put out a new video. And that's not nothing. That's, a lot better than, again, starting a channel from complete scratch and solely relying on the YouTube algorithm to put it in front of people that are searching for whatever terms you're using in your video, right? And I mean, I've known this all along in this whole business starting process that this thing existed. I felt like I was maybe too confined, that I would only, if I wanted to do something through that channel, I just needed to do circuits analysis work, which again is that's a small niche of people that are looking for that type of material. Plus, like I was concerned also from just a business sense, like the people that are looking for those questions are students or college students that are in those classes trying to learn this material. So what do they do? They search for an answer to their problem. They find my video. They watch the video. Maybe they learn something. Maybe it helps them with their homework, studying for a test or whatever. Like, that's it. Then they're gone. Then they pass the class, or they're done with the class, and they're on to the next thing. Like, they're not people that are coming back to like rewatch these things over and over, right? And they probably wouldn't care if I were putting out new videos on circuit analysis, because they're already, done and gone and moving on to other classes. So I guess I always sort of wondered how you actually turn that into a real business, aside from, again, if you grew it to like a massive viewership, I mean, millions of people viewing your videos, then yes, the YouTube revenue can be significant. But I wasn't sure, again, that was possible for a very niche topic to get to that sort of viewership, which again was confirmed as you just go and search for general engineering tutoring types of YouTube channels. They just don't get tons of views because there's just not that many people in the world that are pursuing engineering career paths. But seeing these other channels where, like the organic chemistry tutoring channel, which is, again, seems like they obviously stood that up for a very specific purpose, but then maybe they have this realization as well that if I only keep making videos about organic chemistry, I'm only going to get a very small group of people that will ever find these videos. So they started to expand out, and now they have like multi-millions of subscribers or something. And my guess is they probably make decent money on the revenue side. So I'm currently thinking maybe that's what I'll do, is leverage this channel, just start picking out other topics that are interesting to me. Not that I'm going to like throw out a bunch of Excel tutoring videos on that channel. I think that's a little pushing it a little bit, but other topics that I think might have more general interest, but are still like educational. And again, I think this is one of my strengths in terms of being able to describe concepts that are complicated, but doing it in a way that is more easily understandable. Because again, that's a lot of the feedback I get from that channel. It's like, oh, this is great, because again, the professor I have or the teacher I have like totally sucks at trying to explain this to me. So your explanation helped me understand it. And so that's the goal. So I can do that in additional areas that would drive more traffic and more subscribers, which then if I get a little bit more strategic about what I'm doing in the videos, and of course, having calls to action, which again is not really something that a bunch of the YouTube folks do, because, of course the dream is like, oh, just create YouTube videos, become a YouTuber and live off the ad revenue. Well, that's fine and good and all, but that really goes against like principle number one of standing up a business, which is to not be reliant on somebody else's tool for you to make all your money. So if YouTube came out tomorrow and said, yeah, we're just not going to do this whole paying YouTubers any of our ad revenue anymore, we're just going to keep it all for ourselves. Well, instantly, you've got like hundreds or thousands of people that are going to go broke because that's their only income stream. So making content, but then pushing traffic to your own site so you can start build a list of who those people are that are interested in what you're doing, and then pushing them to whatever, either paid courses or training of some sort, whatever that might be. That's, I think, the better long-term path to go. So with that, I'm gonna head out, go check on the sick kid again. Hope you're doing well. Keep on kicking ass, taking names, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.